Am I the asshole for walking out in the middle of my boyfriend's birthday party? If 25 have been with my boyfriend M 28 of 3 years. Our relationship is great and we rarely fight. His birthday was days ago. I wanted to do something together but his parents already decided to host the party at their house. My boyfriend got there first. I showed up after I got off work and he was there with the guests busy talking and greeting in the backyard. I took a seat in the back and his sister showed up with her husband and son Jake. We're not on good terms BTW. She said hi then asked if I could watch her son Jake. I was like, But she disappeared and left her kid with me before I could even answer, so I decided to just keep an eye on him till she gets back since he was sitting across from me. I spilled my drink on my top which was messy. I gave Jake my phone to play on it and asked him to sit still till I get back, then I went to use the bathroom to clean up the stain. Clearly Jake walked towards the pool and the floor was slippery so he slept and fell and injured his knee. That's when I heard loud noise coming from outside like people panicking. I went to see what's going on and saw my boyfriend and his family with Jake. I heard my boyfriend's dad ask who was supposed to watch Jake and his sister said my name. My boyfriend saw me and shouted, "Op, where the hell have you been? How could let this happen?" I was taken. I said aback. I said was in the bathroom cleaning up the stain. He asked, is the stain more important than my nephew? I explained that his family or his mother should have kept an eye on him. He said there are many guests so they probably didn't notice and said I should stop turning this around on his family since I agreed to watch Jake. I said no, I did not initially agree to watch Jake and came to the party as a guest not a babysitter, and that his sister just dumped him on me and disappeared without even waiting to hear if I was going to say no. We had an argument and I got fed up being presented with a hypothetical scenario after a hypothetical scenario of what could have happened if Jake fell inside the pool and was blamed to no end, so I grabbed my stuff and walked out. My boyfriend's parents saw me leave and he followed me asking me to wait and return, but I refused. He said I have no reason to be upset but more reason to be worried just like they all were, and insisted I go back inside, but I got in my car and left. He came back later looking pissed. He said that yes, while it might be his sister's fault for still bringing her son after he stated he didn't want kids there because of the pool, but said I ruined the party by walking out and refusing to take responsibility and admit I should have made sure Jake was safe before leaving him out of my sight whether I agreed to watch him or not. He said his parents are rightfully upset and didn't appreciate my behavior earlier on then walking out, which hurt him on a personal level since his birthday should mean something to me. I felt like he might be right and mishandled this entire situation. AITA? Jake is 4 years old. She shouldn't have ditched her kid with you, but it's not shocking to understand why you shouldn't leave a toddler alone, especially by a pool. Did you really think telling him to sit still was going to work? There's immaturity in both ends in this post. Edit. Technically ESH here, but going with you are the asshole because one person in this interaction was presumptuous and inconsiderate, and the other left a toddler alone next to a drowning hazard because he's not my RSPO. See Billy Ty info. How old is Jake? Going with you are the asshole. All you needed to do was walk the kid to his mum and hand him over. Say sorry, I need to fix my shirt. All done. The sister shouldn't just be dumping her kid on anyone without their permission, so this is just as much her fault as yours, and it's garbage that nobody is blaming her as well. If you didn't want to watch him you should have just walked him right back to his mother. But you didn't, you even gave him your phone and told him to stay put. So whether you initially agreed or not doesn't actually matter. You accepted the responsibility and shouldn't have left him unattended. Not the asshole for not wanting to watch the kid, but you are the asshole for leaving him alone. You should have brought him to his parents or grandparents and that would be it. Not the asshole for leaving the party after you and your boyfriend had the argument. You should have taken Jake back to his mother before tending to your shirt, but Jake's parents were irresponsible in handing him off to you like that. Your boyfriend is upset, but he had no right to pick a fight with you at the party. In retrospect, it wasn't the best call to leave your nephew unattended. Your intentions were good, I think, but your judgment not so much. Still, I think everybody, you included, overreacted to the situation. Dump him. Woman shrugging, light skin tone. Am I the asshole for stepping down as a bridesmaid just one day before the wedding? Throwaway. Bear with me, I'm writing on my phone. So last weekend it was my sister-in-law's wedding. My sister-in-law is my fiance's sister, to clarify. I've been with my fiance for 5 years and we've been engaged for 2. Before I got with my fiance, His family was trying to get him to date another female friend of his who he no longer talks to because she said some pretty horrible things about him and some of his friends. Plus she was always trying to put me in my place since I started dating my fiance, claiming she'll always come first in his life. Long story short, stuff happened and they no longer talk. I have a pretty close relationship with his family, especially his two siblings, his sister, the bride, and his brother. One day before the wedding we were having a family lunch with the bride's family, and during lunch she started mentioning that female ex-friend of my fiance. She started saying what a gorgeous girl she is and how pretty she is. My fiancé and I felt uncomfortable, and my fiancé was pretty pissed because that ex-friend has caused a lot of damage in my fiancé's life in the past, so it was hurtful for him to hear his sister praising her like that, but he stayed silent since he didn't want to cause drama during the wedding period. The nail in the coffin was when my sil said that it's a shame my fiancé never got to date female ex-friend, since I came along and took her place because she'd love to have her as a bridesmaid, but because of me she can't, and she can't even call her a sister because of me. My Mill told her to apologize and tried to do damage control, claiming my Sil was joking, but Sil said she's not joking, she really feels that way, then proceeded to say she loves me as her new Sil, she'd just prefer female ex-friend. I kindly got up and excused myself, saying I'll head home. While I was gathering my stuff to leave, I also said I'd withdraw as a bridesmaid since I'm not really the one she wanted there, and that she should contact ex-friend while she still has time, and I'll give her my dress since we are the same size. Fiancé left with me, and while leaving he said something along the lines of, "You never know when to shut your mouth," to his sister. Mill justified me walking out, so did my brother-in-law and Phil. They say bride's words were ridiculous. They tried to convince me to stay as a bridesmaid but respected my wish to walk out. My family on the other hand said I'm the asshole for not sucking it up for one more day and walking away from the role while making the bride stressed. So am I the asshole? Peas. I still attended the wedding as a guest. Bride did not talk to me at all. The groom did, and he said I'm right to be upset, but he thinks I shouldn't step down last minute over a joke. Edit. I'd beg some of you to not harass me in the private chat to avoid getting down votes in here. If you want to say something, be brave enough and share it in the comments. Don't be brave in my chat if you can't take it. Not the asshole. I'm so glad your in-laws stood up for you and supported your decision. However, for the groom to call her comments a joke is very wrong. Was he there when she initially said them? I hope you're doing okay, but you don't need her in your life. Not the asshole. What a horrible thing to say. She clarified it wasn't a joke, so why does her husband still think it is? Not the asshole. Your Sil pissed around and found out. Also, it wasn't a joke. It was a calculated dig and left you with no option but to step down. I mean, you got everyone's backing, so why do you need ours? Very easy. Not the asshole. Crazy how she thinks that was even remotely acceptable to say. You have every right to withdraw. Enjoy the fucking wedding and open bar. Not the asshole. Bridesmaids support the bride on her day, but how could any sane person expect you to support her after all those hurtful and nasty things she said? Then she doubled down by making it clear it wasn't a joke and she really meant it. She is not your friend, and her words about loving you are BS. Not the asshole. I think you handled the situation diplomatically. You didn't badmouth the bride. Her husband shouldn't have doubled down that it was just a joke, when she very clearly said it wasn't. Your in-laws have no issue with it. Your family can shut up honestly. I'm glad your fiancé is standing by you. Not the asshole. All the in-laws but the Sil seem to support you, and that is great. But like he said, it sounds like she doesn't know when to shut her mouth. Curious, did the ex-friend indeed serve as a bridesmaid? Not the asshole. You were too civil in my opinion. Lol. People tend to take advantage of the fact that they're getting married, saying all kinds of hurtful things they always wanted to say about someone, and then expect people to not react in order not to upset the bride or groom. She probably thought you wouldn't react, that's why she expressed those feelings last minute. And it backfired. Am I the asshole for moving to the other side of the country without my BF? Me, 21F, and my boyfriend, 23M, have been together for almost a year now. When we started dating, I had laid out all of my future plans because I was tired of wasting time on men who didn't like these plans. I also have a lot of health issues and have been told that I wasn't guaranteed a full life, so one of the many things I told him is that I never intended on staying in the state we're in because I have no friends here and I just had no desire to spend the rest of my likely short life in a place I don't like. So I disclosed less than a month into dating he either had to be cool with wanting to move with me or being left behind eventually because I didn't want to stay in either of the states I was raised in and planned on going somewhere completely new. He told me he would be totally cool with it. Flash forward to now, I want to move to the other side of the country. The state I want to go to has more opportunities for me. More doctors, more schooling options, more nearby friends, and a chance to experience something new. My boyfriend acted surprised and offended that I want to move, and he told me that I was being unfair because it's a place he's not super fond of and he really didn't seem to expect me to go somewhere else. I told him it's because I have a chance to go to school and possibly improve my health, two things that are very important to me. I also have a guaranteed roommate, friends already there, and job opportunities. I offered to do long distance, but that was before I decided I'd like to go to school there, and I know that neither of us are willing to do long distance for that long. So we tossed around the idea of long distance and him moving there eventually. Then yesterday happened. He found out one of my friends there, who might be a future roommate, isn't fond of him and decided he was suddenly willing to move. What was the change? Spite. No, not to be with his girlfriend, but to spite someone. I told my future roommate about it and she decided she's not willing to be roommates if he goes due to his behavior, which I fully understand as her name will be the one on the lease. Today I talked to him and told him the situation and I suggested that we do long distance until we can save and find a place of our own. His response? Well then I might as well just not go. I asked him to clarify, not go now or not go at all. And he said he wouldn't want to go at all, because suddenly he feels no reason to. I pointed out that what he's basically saying is this won't work out. He threw a fit and said we'd talk about it later. That talk hasn't happened yet. I think he was genuinely expecting me to say that I'd stay and throw away my future for him. I wouldn't expect such a thing from him, so I don't think he gets to expect that from me. I have goals and most, if not all, can't be achieved where I am. I'm going no matter what. I think he's being the asshole and I know he thinks I'm being the asshole, so am I the asshole? Your moving away is not a surprise to your BF. He can move with you or not. He can do long distance or not. You can't control what your boyfriend does. And you don't have to change your plans. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. You were upfront about the situation from early on. What else was he expecting? Plus I don't know if it was spite that changed his mind or a hope that if your friend kicked up a stink that you might change your mind. Not the asshole, and do not give in to him. Guys like him play cool and make promises and then expect girls to just change their minds when they resist later. Nah. This is how young couples break up. Life will go on. Nah. You guys want different things. Just end it already or work it out. I also forgot to mention that his first and only concern when I told him I wanted to move was how he'd pay rent without me, even though the lease ends when I move anyways. This apartment was his before I even moved in, so if he couldn't afford it on his own, he shouldn't have gotten it in the first place. I think that might be why he let me move in so fast. Frowning face. Not the asshole. Go live your best life, you deserve it. This boy is just going to drag you down. Not the asshole. You told him at the start of your relationship that this would eventually happen. It's not your fault that he forgot or chose to dismiss it or treat it like a flight of fancy. If he's unwilling to respect and support you, your dreams and the opportunities given to you, which are in no way unreasonable or unfair, simply because it's inconvenient for him, then he's probably not the one for you. Am I the asshole for keeping money my fiance threw at me? My fiance, 28 male, and I, 24 female, got into a disagreement today and it ended with him throwing money at me. We've smoothed things over and came up with a plan. However, I won't give him back the money because I feel like it should teach him a lesson about consequences when he makes an irrational decision in the heat of an argument. Full story. He moved in about 8 months ago and he has a German Shepherd that has a ton of energy. She never sits still, won't listen to me, and often steps all over me, and no serious injuries have occurred. But it hurts when a 50-pound animal throws her body weight on top of me repeatedly and won't listen to us telling her to get off. She dead weights and a significant other strong. It's extremely frustrating, especially because now she's even taken to leaping over the fence we put in the kitchen to contain her when she's eating or we're not home. We have 4 dogs. I keep all of them separate during mealtimes and when we're at work. In order to curb all of this, over the last 8 months I have gotten her spayed, started her at a daycare 3 days a week, and given him resources for training he would have to pay for. Options between $500 and $2,000. Last night she woke up around 3 and I let her outside and then put her in the kitchen. I did this so she wouldn't pace back and forth while the door was open to let the other dogs in. Instead of staying inside the kitchen, she leapt over the fence 3 times and then took my spot in bed and wouldn't move. So today I cracked a joke about rehoming his dog, which he knows I'd never do, when she leapt onto the bed on top of me and hurt me. He laughed it off, but I said we needed to do something about her because it's been 8 months and I'm still having a hard time bonding with her. He told me he wasn't sure what to do and if I want to bond then I have to try, and I snapped at that point because of all the above points. I have taken the initiative and done it all, and in the beginning I was paying for her daycare and vetting, he does now. He then made a comment about how he couldn't afford the expensive training and daycare too. To which I replied that he needs to manage his money better then because he makes more than me and is planning on a very expensive tattoo in the next 2 weeks, and maybe he should put that toward her training instead, or at least come up with a plan since I've been trying for 8 months. So he, in frustration, left the room and came back and threw $500 onto the bed and said not to worry because he was canceling his tattoo and would be paying back every dime I spent on her. After we both cooled off, we talked it out and have a plan to pay for her training and him to also get his tattoo just spread out longer. But then he asked for the money back and I told him no. I told him if he honestly felt like he owed this to me, then he can't just take it back because he did it in frustration. So, am I the asshole? Wait, he had $500 for a tat, but didn't have $500 to help train his dog before she hurts you? Seriously, this is a major red flag. Not the asshole. This is neither a normal nor a healthy dynamic to have with the person you plan to spend your life with. He acted immaturely and probably wasn't fully ready for dog ownership. You're acting like a parent, not a partner. Not the asshole. Keep the money, leave the BF, who is a shit both to you and his poor dog. Why the hell do you have these large, untrained dogs if you can't pay for them? That should be the priority, not a freaking tattoo. 4 dogs and he's spending money on tattoos? The dog deserves to live with people who will take care of her and train her the way she deserves. He doesn't care about the dog and he's too immature to manage his money. Stop giving him money and tell him he needs to take care of his dog or you need to rehome. A German Shepherd is a major training and exercise commitment and he's not ready. Not the asshole. Not the asshole plays stupid games. Person shrugging. Not the asshole. Finders keepers, losers weepers. Why does it cost so much to train your dog? There's books, videos, YouTube and all kinds of online sources that won't cost $500 2K. Lots of people train their own dogs and I honestly don't think he's taking it seriously, especially when he's laughing when the dog hurts you. Maybe he's subconsciously favoring his dog over you.